Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I have another buyer's guide, and this time it's for the Bugatti Veyron. I'm assuming that pretty much everyone at some point that's been on the internet over the last 20 years knows a hell of a lot about this car and knows just how special it is. So in the later 2000s this car was pretty much everywhere. It was every, young kid, teenager's dream car. It was featured on Top Gear, and I think from then it was sort of cemented, especially in my country of the UK, as pretty much the most ridiculous, car to ever exist, and we'll never have another car like it. Obviously, since then we've gone on to have even faster cars, but for years after this thing came out, it was sort of, hailed as like the holy grail of cars, the ultimate driving machine. Like it was ridiculously fast, like in the 250 odd mile an hour zone. Obviously, it got an upgrade. I believe it was the SS version, the Super Sport version, and then obviously we've had more Bugattis and Koenigseggs sort of overtake it since then. But this car firmly in the late 2000s cemented itself as like the ultimate, luxury quick car, like a world record car. Um, so yeah, it is nice to see it in the game. It's a shame we haven't got more Bugattis. Um, but yeah, I basically just wanted to take this absolute barge of a car out around the Nürburgring and do a buyer's guide. So as most of you guys that have, been around on the channel for probably the last week or so know, that I'm trying to sort of get the invitational cars out of the way, or majority, before the open invites end. Probably won't be able to get them all done, but I think it was kind of obvious this car eventually would be sort of thrown around the Nürburgring, and put into a buyer's guide video. It was probably the most predictable car so far. I sort of knew how it'd go before I drove it. It's literally just been sat in my garage until now. Um, yeah. It's, so how do I sort of explain it? Yes, it is very, very quick, but no, it is not the quickest around the track. It does feel very boat-like. It just feels like a, or a tank essentially. It is essentially one big, fast rolling tank. It's not really great through the corners. It's very sort of unstable through there. But as soon as you hit the straight, that is it. This car is just in its element. The back straight in this car, it just breezed through it. I cannot, complain about it in there. But in general, would I say go and use this car for, actual racing? Probably not. It's not the greatest for that. I think if you want to enjoy this car as much as you can, then go and sort of take it in, the special stage X route, the big ovals. You'll probably get a lot more fun from it, using it there, than taking it around places like here, like the Nürburgring. Obviously, I don't want to, sound like I'm just completely complaining about this car. Some of the really, high points, like I've mentioned, is the top speed, the acceleration, all that feels great. Um, Another plus for this car is the model that we've got. So the in-game model, to me, is the most detailed Bugatti I've ever seen, and it's really good to see this car in, you know, such detail. The interior looks great. The sound of it is really, really cool. So yeah, speaking of sound, I'll let you have a listen, and then we'll discuss some more things. So as you can all hear, it does have that very, I'd say, Bugatti sound to it. So that very deep grunt that the Veyron always had. I do think this is probably one of the better and more accurate car sounds in the game. And yeah, I can't complain going flat out in this car and listening to that engine. That sounds awesome. So let's actually answer the question itself. Do I think you should buy this car? Yes, because for me, this is a part of, car culture history. This car on release was just extraordinary and probably one of the coolest things, to ever happen to sort of cars in general, especially around that time. There was just nothing else like it. Obviously, before that, we'd had the McLaren F1, which for years and years was the fastest car in the world. And then this big barge looking thing came along and knocked it off its top spot. And then for me, this car sort of, made the trend of, getting that sort of production car speed record. And then since then, we've just had crazier and crazier cars. And I believe personally it's down to this car that really started that trend of seeing, other car companies think, oh, can we beat Bugatti? What can we do? What crazy designs can we come out with? And obviously since then we've had, stuff like Koenig's eggs and even Bugatti making newer models just to sort of keep up. And yeah, to be honest, I mean, these last few years, if you've been on YouTube, you've probably seen the speed records, and they're absolutely insane. I believe there's a car that's made in America that's hitting 300 miles an hour, claimed, but I've also seen, news saying it was faked. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I mean, we've got some absolutely crazy cars, and for me, it's thanks to this. This car really started the trend in the late 2000s, and we're obviously in the 2020s now, and it's getting even more nuts. So another reason I'm like really thankful for this car in general, and I'm glad to see it being kept alive in sort of in-game form, is obviously with this day and age we've got a lot more electric vehicles and hybrids, because of pollution and stuff. Um, a lot of car companies are sort of turning their back on big engine cars and such. So to see this trend carrying on of like speed record cars still going, it's an absolute joy to watch. And like I said, because of this car, obviously we have got some of the most crazy cars in history going at it to try and break 300 miles an hour and such in the day where you know everyone on the nan sort of owns an electric vehicle or a hybrid. So yeah, you should definitely buy it just because it is a legend car, and I'm actually genuinely surprised it didn't go in the legendary dealership. So let's talk about the lap time. I knew it wouldn't be very, very quick. Obviously, soon you will see where it ranks. Um, I thought it'd be slower than the Lamborghini, possibly even slower than the Honda. Because that Honda felt very, very good around this track. Obviously, it doesn't have the top speed of some of these absolute hypercars. So let's find out. So there we are. It came fourth so far on the list. It did beat the Amuse S2000. But yeah, it's predictable. I didn't think it'd be too great around the track, and that's sort of proven it. But it is a great car, and it's a legend. So if you like this kind of content, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I make this kind of content every day, and I'll see you all in the next one.